Hello and welcome to this edition of Trojan Talk. I'm Paige Ray. Joining us today is Hall School of Journalism and Communication lecturer Morgan Drinkard. Morgan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So this is our Faculty Spotlight series, so we can introduce you to current and maybe future Trojans.
Yeah.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you went to Troy for your undergrad, is that right?
Yes, I received my undergraduate degree from Troy University in broadcast journalism with a minor in leadership studies and a concentration in public relations.
Okay, well that makes sense. I was about to say, now you teach
Yes.
public relations,
Yes.
so tell me about that. How did you end up in that side of the field?
Yes, so after I completed my undergraduate degree at Troy University, I went to the University of Alabama and received a master's degree in public relations and advertising. And so through that experience, I was a teaching assistant, a research assistant, and I really loved practicing public relations. Right after college, my first job was a media coordinator with the Troy Pike Cultural Arts Center. So I was able to work with the TPCAC for a couple of years before moving into the executive director role. And running a nonprofit is a great way to learn everything at once. And so I had just an incredible opportunity to learn about strategic communication, about the value of relationships with both donors, volunteers, visitors, the media, and I loved practicing.
Absolutely. I was wondering where the PR was going to come in. So tell me how you ended back here.
Yes, well, I wound up back in the classroom when Dr. Stephen Paget, who's one of my just most admirable instructors, and he called and said, "Hey, would you be interested in teaching an adjunct course?" And I said yes, and so I began teaching. I was also teaching for the Leadership Institute at the time, a leadership course under Dr. John Klein, and I was just adjuncting a couple of courses, and then the opportunity became available to apply for a lecturer position, and I really couldn't pass up the opportunity to serve the same classrooms where I had learned so much. And so I began January of 2014 as a lecturer full-time at Troy University.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're nearing almost a 10-year mark.
That's right, almost a 10-year mark. So I'm looking forward to it. My undergraduate time at Troy was so special for me, and I loved my time in Tuscaloosa, but I loved coming back to Troy as well. And joining this community as a member of the community past my collegiate experience was just a real gift back to me. And professionally, not only am I able to teach in the classroom, but also practice outside the classroom, getting involved in the community with my church and serving as a public relations coordinator there, serving as the publicity chair for Troy Fest Art and Craft Festival, and just continuing to do freelance work and serve different organizations with the things that I'm teaching in the classroom. This type of instruction, public relations, advertising, media, is constantly evolving. And so there's a need for me to actively practice what I'm preaching in the classroom, because then I'll be more aware of the industry changes.
And I was just about to ask you, when it comes to your teaching style, where do you get your inspiration? Do you try to use real life experiences? Yeah. And it sounds like you do.
Yes, we have to use real case studies and real case scenarios, because just in the past couple of weeks we're learning how businesses are integrating AI, artificial intelligence, and all this new programming into sharing information with audiences. And so as our devices and our ways and our methods for sharing information evolve, then as communicators we have to learn how to adopt and use that technology in those ways and methods. And so this is not a type of education that you could learn and I'm still teaching the things I learned. I am learning every day, and continuing education is a big part of what I try to have in my classroom. I'm a member of PRSA, the Public Relations Society of America, and specifically their Educators Academy. And so I listen to the topics that are being discussed in the Educators Academy as the top things that our students need to know entering the field.
Okay, before we go, because I know, especially for future students, it can be intimidating walking into a classroom and knowing that you're in front of someone who is so accomplished and is so up to date on their knowledge and their craft. So what's an icebreaker that you could give us to kind of remind us you're human?
I think my students do a good job of knowing that I'm human, because I just want them to see that public relations is about relationships with people. So what we can understand personally between us can mirror what we understand about organizations and their relationships with the general public. And so I constantly remind my students, if we can understand how to communicate well together, we understand how to do that for big groups of people.
I love that. And fun fact.
Fun fact would be my husband is the director of advertising for Troy University, so often we joke that I teach and he does.
I could see that being the way it is. So really a Troy University love story too there.
Yes.
Well, Morgan, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you sharing a little bit about yourself and your classes.
Thank you.
Of course, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Trojan Talk.